What up, gearheads? Today we're diving headfirst into the malevolent mystique of the 1958 Plymouth Fury, better known as Christine. How much of that on-screen fury was fact? How much was Hollywood fiction? What made this particular Plymouth such a perfect vessel for pure, unadulterated automotive evil? Stick around, because this isn't just a car story. It's a chilling tale of steel, souls, and suspicion. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so we can reach more gearheads like you. Now, when Christine first rolled onto the screen, all gleaming red and chrome, it was an instant attention grabber. That long, imposing body, those massive tail fins. It had a presence, you know, and it wasn't just about looks. Under that hood was supposed to be a pretty potent V8 capable of some serious get up and go. But here's where things get interesting. How much of what we saw terrorizing the teenagers was real deal performance? How much was movie magic pulling the strings? We'll get into the gritty details shortly. Sure, Christine looked sinister on film, but what actually made a 58 Plymouth Fury stand out from the regular Plymouths of the time? Well, this supposedly possessed Plymouth was packing some serious heat under the hood. In its top spec form, the 350 cubic inch Golden Commando V8 was rumored to be pushing out around 305 horsepower. That was a respectable number back in the late 1950s. Imagine having that kind of power at your command back then. But did it really feel like 305 horses were ready to bolt, or was it more of a leisurely canter? We'll crack open that performance question in a bit. And all that horsepower translated to some pretty hefty torque. We're talking somewhere in the neighborhood of 390 pound-feet. That's the kind of force that gets you moving in a hurry, the kind that pins you back in the seat. You definitely need that low-end grunt for a car that size. Now let's talk about speed beyond the cinematic chase scenes. A real 58 Plymouth Fury, in good running condition, could reportedly reach a top speed somewhere around 115 to 120 miles per hour. Not exactly breaking the sound barrier, but certainly enough to make the scenery blur. Top speed is cool for bragging rights, but what about getting up to speed? Was it a smooth surge of power, or did it feel like wrestling a greased pig? We're circling back to those real-world driving dynamics. Beyond the supposed supernatural abilities, the 58 Fury had some distinct styling cues that set it apart from the more common Plymouth Belvedere or Savoy. Those prominent tail fins, the unique grille design, and the overall length of the car gave it a distinctive presence. Think about it, even without the evil personality, it was a car that turned heads. And that buckskin beige paint job, while not the movie's menacing red, was a signature color. But here's something to think of. Were these styling cues enough to make it a classic, or did it need a sinister storyline to become truly iconic? Back in 1958, if you were in the market for a Fury, it would have set you back around $3,000 to $3,500 depending on the option. Try to imagine what you could buy for that amount today. Maybe a slightly used hatchback and a questionable extended warranty? But back then, that kind of money bought you a top-of-the-line Plymouth. But hold on a moment. That's the original price. What's the story now? Alright, quick pit stop before Christine comes after us. Are you getting a thrill out of this deep dive into the fiery tale of Christine? Want to keep your engine revving with more automotive mysteries and behind-the-scenes stories? Then smash that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. We've got more tire-squealing tales coming your way. Don't get left in the dust. Join the ride. Now, where were we? Ah yes, the original price. Fast forward to today, and finding a pristine 1958 Plymouth Fury is like finding a unicorn that also happens to be a time traveler, exceptionally rare and quite valuable. A beautifully restored example can easily fetch upwards of $50,000 to $100,000, and even more for exceptionally well-documented or original cars. That's a significant jump in value, wouldn't you say? It's like finding a rare comic book in your attic, but way more intimidating. But here's a question to get your gears grinding. What makes one Fury worth significantly more than another? Is it just the condition and the shine, or is there a certain aura? Officially, the production numbers for the 1958 Plymouth Fury were relatively low, with around 5,300 built. That limited production's a big part of what makes them so desirable to collectors today. But hold on to your seats, because there's a devilish detail lurking beneath the surface. Did you know that not all the cars used to portray Christine in the movie were actually Furies? It's whispered among movie car buffs that they used other 1958 Plymouth models like Belvederes and Savoys, dressed up to look like the top-of-the-line Fury. They reportedly used clever bodywork and paint to create the illusion of multiple identical Furies. Could the object of our cinematic nightmares have been a committee of imposters? On screen, Christine was a vision of red menace, a symbol of unstoppable automotive evil. In reality, the genuine article boasted a powerful engine, substantial torque, and a respectable top speed. It had the right fins, the right chrome, and a price tag that would raise eyebrows today. But here's the burning question: did the movie manage to capture the true essence of the 1958 Fury? Or was it more of a Frankensteinian creation, pieced together from different parts? And what about those stand-in cars? Are we comparing a legend to, well, slightly less legendary siblings in disguise? But wait, there's more gasoline to pour on this inferno. Let's delve a little deeper into what it was actually like to be behind the wheel of a real 1958 Plymouth Fury, minus the homicidal tendencies, of course. Something you can't get from watching the movie is the sheer size of the thing. Imagine sliding onto that long bench seat. It wasn't just a seat, it was practically a sofa on wheels, often covered in some pretty flamboyant fabric. Did it feel like sitting in a luxurious lounge, or more like piloting a land yacht? And that steering wheel, it was massive, thin, and often made of some cool-looking plastic. It was your connection to the unassisted steering system. Every turn required some serious effort, or at least it was supposed to. But here's something to consider: did that old-school steering give you a real-life feel for the road, or was it just a workout? Now, let's talk about the sound. Forget your movie sound effects. The real soundtrack of a 58 Fury was a product of its time. The roar of the V8, maybe with a bit of a rumble from the exhaust, was a distinct sound, though perhaps not as overly aggressive as some later muscle cars. Picture this, cruising down a 1950s highway, that V8 providing a comforting hum. Pure Americana, right? But here's a thought that might get your engine sputtering. Did the movie car's sound truly reflect a real-world experience, or was it amped up for dramatic effect? But what if the cinematic deception went even further, and the engine under Christine's hood wasn't what it seemed? Alright, buckle up, because here comes a sharp turn in our story. Remember how we talked about some of the movie cars being dressed up Belvederes and Savoys? Well, the plot thickens under the hood as well. Rumor has it, whispered among those in the know, that some of the Christine cars didn't even have the top-of-the-line Golden Commando 350 V8. Some say they used smaller, more readily available engines for some of the stunts and scenes where outright power wasn't the main focus. We're talking smoke and mirrors, folks. The priority wasn't necessarily raw power. It was about getting the shots and creating the illusion of a fleet of vengeful Furies. Imagine that. The star car of a terrifying movie, potentially having a less terrifying engine. This throws a wrench into the works, doesn't it? Suddenly, Christine isn't just a possessed car, she's a master of disguise and budgetary constraints. And dropping that bombshell right here makes you reevaluate every screeching tire and every menacing growl you heard in the movie, doesn't it? It makes you question how much of what we see on the screen is the genuine article and how much is, well, movie magic doing its thing. Now, let's toss a little more gasoline on this bonfire of automotive intrigue. Think about the cultural impact of Christine. It cemented the 58 Plymouth Fury as a legend, albeit a sinister one. But if some of those on-screen demons were actually lesser models underneath, does it diminish the impact? It's like finding out your favorite scary movie monster is actually a really nice guy in makeup. Still effective, but different. But did the movie's portrayal, regardless of the engine truth, spark a renewed interest in these classic cars? Consider the automotive landscape of 1958. What other cars was the real Fury competing with for attention and sales? We're talking about stylish rivals like the Chevrolet Impala and the Ford Fairlane 500. Understanding the competition helps us appreciate the Fury's position in the market. It's like knowing the other contenders before crowning the beauty queen. And let's not forget the styling. The 1958 Plymouth, with its dramatic fins and bold design, was a product of its era. Love it or hate it, it was certainly distinctive. But did the movie cars, even the stand-ins, capture that same visual flair? So how furious was the Christine 1958 Plymouth Fury really? Well, the movie magic definitely amplified the terror factor. The real 58 Fury was a stylish and fairly powerful car for its time. The movie car, perhaps a bit of a mixed bag under the skin, but undeniably effective at scaring audiences. But either way, it burned its way into cinematic history. Don't forget to smash that like button if you enjoyed this spooky spin through automotive history, and share this video with your fellow horror and car enthusiasts. Your support keeps us digging into these fascinating tales from the automotive crypt. And if you've got any insider info on the Christine movie cars, or even better, if you know the truth about those engine swaps, drop it in the comments below. We're always up for a good automotive conspiracy theory. Subscribe to the Muscle Car Vault, or should we say the Classic Car Crypt, so you never miss another spine-tingling video. And be sure to check out our other videos. You definitely won't be bored. Maybe you'll be spooked.